Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, please do make sure to hit the subscribe button before you leave. And if you are a returning subscriber, what's good, what's up, welcome back, and thank you so much for joining me once again. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to get through hard days. I think we all have those days in life where it just feels really hard, it feels really tough, like it's just a bad day. So I'm just going to talk about some of the things that help me get through hard days, and hopefully you can take something from this video that you can incorporate into your own life to help you get through your hard days. So the first thing to note when going through a hard day or a difficult day is to acknowledge that it's a bad day, not a bad life. I've seen that quote a lot of times, and it really does resonate with me, because most times when we're having a bad day, we tend to kind of spiral in our negativity, and then we kind of feel like it's a bad life, like everything is just falling in on us and the world is on our shoulders and there's a lot going on. But we just need to remember that it's a bad day, not a bad life. So when you are having a bad day, try not to spiral in your negativity. And this is not to invalidate your experiences or invalidate what you're going through. You definitely need to feel what you're going through, and you need to feel those sad emotions. However, try your best not to spiral, because sometimes you have a bad day and then you just kind of go on a rampage. So let's say, for example, you have a bad day because you failed a test or something. So in your mind you'll be like, oh my gosh, today is such a bad day, I failed this test. And then we tend to spiral and be like, yo, on top of that I'm broke, on top of that I don't have a job, on top of that this and this person was mean to me, on top of that this, on top of that you know, like we tend to spiral. So it's important to try not to spiral and to try just keep our emotions in control and just focus on that thing that's making it a bad day, and not try to paint our whole life as a bad life, if that makes sense. The next thing is to actually let yourself have a bad day. Allow a bad day to be a bad day. Don't try and force a bad day to be a good day. And I'm guilty of this. Sometimes when I'm having a bad day, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's a bad day, I don't want to be feeling this, I don't want to be going through this, and then I'm going to try and force my way into a good day. And I'm just like, oh no, but let me do this, let me do this, let me do that, let me try get my day back, let me try make it more positive, let me try, you know. But there's actually no need to do that. Life has its ups, life has its downs, life is seasonal in nature, and that's okay. Which means you should be having good days, you should be having bad days. So don't try and force a bad day to be a good day. Sometimes that only makes it worse. So if you're having a bad day, let yourself have a bad day. Don't try and push any other agenda. Just take the day bit by bit, an hour at a time, however you decide to handle it. But don't try and force it to be a good day, because that could end up being more stressful. The next thing is to avoid toxic positivity from yourself and from other people as well. So toxic positivity is essentially kind of forcing positivity. Wait, let me actually Google it. So according to Google, it says toxic positivity is an obsession with positive thinking. It is the belief that people should put a positive spin on all experiences, even those that are profoundly tragic, which really shouldn't be the case. An example of toxic positivity could be like when you're talking to someone and you're telling them what you're going through, and they say something like, you just have to be positive, or they say something like, things could be much worse, or they say something like, you have to stop being so negative, you know, when you're genuinely going through a difficult experience. And instead of toxic positivity, you could give that person validation or yourself validation and say things like, I'm sure it feels hard to be positive in situations like this, or say something like, this is really tough and I'm here for you, or to say it's normal and valid to feel negative about this. Those are examples of ways you can handle hard situations that are not toxic. So avoiding toxic positivity is very important. Don't try and positive think your way out of a hard situation. There's nothing wrong with being optimistic though. However, if you're going through a bad day, it's also okay to go through those emotions, and it's okay to feel negative in that day. It's okay to think negatively maybe for that day. What's important though is not to dwell in that situation. You can have a bad day, allow yourself to have a bad day or bad days or a bad week or however long you need, but try not to dwell in that situation. Don't now let a bad day turn into a bad life. But yeah, avoid toxic positivity when you're going through a bad day, because it may even make you feel worse. So if you have people in your life that you know do that, avoid talking to those type of people, and also don't do it to yourself. Don't think those types of toxic positivity thoughts to yourself. Validate yourself, be there for yourself, but don't try and force a hard situation to be positive. The next thing is to engage in healthy coping mechanisms, the keyword being healthy coping mechanisms. Try not to get into things that you'll regret later on when you're feeling better. So try not to do things like maybe binge eating or drinking your problems away, or just not dealing with them, because it will come back to bite you later on. And later on, when you're feeling better and you're now going through the consequences of your bad coping mechanisms, you're going to be like, yo, why did I do that to myself? So try to engage in healthy coping mechanisms, things like exercising. Oh, exercising might be a lot, but moving your body, maybe taking a walk or something, spending time with your friends and family, listening to music, talking to someone. There's like a whole lot of different coping mechanisms. You can do the one that works for you, but just ensure that it is a healthy coping mechanisms. You don't want to now start a drinking problem or start an eating problem or start whatever type of problem, because when you feel better, you're 9 times out of 10 going to regret the way you behaved when you weren't feeling well. So just try not to let yourself go when you're having a bad day. Just use healthy coping mechanisms. The next thing is to talk to someone or talk to yourself if you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to, and you can do that through journaling. I think it's always so important when you're having a bad day to kind of investigate your thoughts, kind of figure out what triggered you, why are you having a bad day. Like, just try and look at the situation from a different perspective. Sometimes other people can give you perspective, your friends, your family, but you need to be talking to the right person that's going to understand you, or at least hear you, even if they don't understand you. Like I mentioned earlier, you don't want people that are going to invalidate you or your experiences, because that will make you feel worse. If you feel that you don't have anyone to talk to, then you can just journal about it. You can just write about why you feel the way that you feel, what you're going through, what triggered you, etc. And I think this just helps clear your mind essentially, because sometimes when you have a bad day, your mind is so full, you're thinking of so many millions of things, and once you kind of get it out, like for me personally, I like venting. Like, I really love just getting it out. There's something about venting or writing things down that just makes your head feel so much more clearer, even though you might not necessarily immediately feel better or your situation might not have changed. It might just help you kind of clear your mind so that it's not so busy, and then you can think about things more clearly. And then next, I would suggest to make yourself a cup of coffee or tea. This is just a personal suggestion because I really love tea, especially when I'm going through it. Well, I love it every day, but also when I'm going through it, it really just, it feels like a hug. It feels like a warm hug, so whether you're a coffee person or a tea person, I would definitely say, drink some tea, drink some coffee, just do something simple that's gonna make you feel good. Sometimes you don't have to do extravagant things, like just do something for you that's gonna make you feel good. And for me, that would be a cup of tea. There's something about tea, guys, it just goes straight to the soul. Like, it just feels like a hug. Let me know in the comments below actually if you're more of a tea person or a coffee person. I'd like to know. And then my last tip for getting through hard days is to take care of yourself, child. Something I've realized in going through hard days actually is that sometimes the people you think are going to be there for you aren't going to be there for you, and then that kind of sometimes makes your day even harder, because you're like, yo, I thought so and so would be here for me, or I thought I'd be able to talk to so and so, and those people aren't. And unmet expectations are very very triggering, and they can also be another source of pain, another source of hurt, etc. So I would say that it's important to take care of yourself. Treat yourself like someone you love. Treat yourself like a friend. If you had a friend who was going through a hard day, who was going through what you're going through, what would you do for them? What advice would you give them? And do that for yourself, because it's not every day that people are going to be there for you. Sometimes you really have to be there for yourself. So take care of yourself, indulge in some self-care, some self-love, whatever the case is, but just be there for yourself, because people won't always be there for you, and that is the sad reality. But at least we'll always have ourselves. And that's all that I have to say on how to get through hard days. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments down below how you get through your hard days. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.